Good morning, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom. I'm at the Florida Bar Association gathering here in Orlando because a member of our synagogue, Mr. Gary Lesser, is being installed as the new president, sworn in today. I came to give the invocation at this gathering, and lawyers stand up and fight for justice and for truth. And this week's Torah portion talks about two individuals who stood up to fight for truth, and that was Caleb and Joshua. Of course, this week's Torah portion is all about the 12 spies who went to scout out the land of Israel. And we know that 10 of them came back with a negative, disparaging, pessimistic view of the land of Israel. But 2 spies stood up, and despite all those opposing them, and proudly and firmly said, no, the land of Israel is good. We can conquer the land. We will go up to the land of Israel. And today we see that those 2 spies were correct. The land of Israel is a magnificent, wonderful camp. And if we stand up with faith and courage, we can take the land of Israel, as our generation miraculously witnessed in 1948, 1967, 1973, that even though the numbers and the odds were against us, we were able to conquer the land of Israel and settle the land of Israel and live in the land of Israel, because if we have faith in God, we can overcome all obstacles. And had all 12 spies had that faith, they would have entered the land of Israel immediately. But they ended up wandering for 40 years because they lacked that faith. But the question is, what was the secret of the success of the 2 spies, Caleb and Joshua? How did they manage to overcome the enormous pressure of the other 10 spies? So here we find something very interesting. We find that each one had another recipe, another secret to their success. Joshua's success was that Moses blessed him. And what did Moses say? May God save you from the advice of the spies. Up until that point, Joshua's name was Moshe, which means salvation. But now with the letter Yud, it was future tense, which means God will save you. It's like back to the future. May you succeed, because I will endow you with the blessing to overcome the pressure and the influence of the negative spies. What was the secret of Caleb? How did he overcome? So our rabbis say that when he arrived in the land of Israel, the verse says he went to Hebron, which implies that Caleb left the group and went to pray at the cave of the patriarchs and matriarchs. He went back to look into history, to our ancestors, to remember his identity, to not be swayed by the pressures of the moment and the headlines of the press that will say what happened today, but to go back to our origins and remain firm and trusting in the promise that God gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. So Caleb went back to the past. Joshua succeeded because he went back to the future. And that's the secret to all of our successes. We have to look forward with faith and optimism and courage, and at the same time, we have to look back to our origins, to our ancestry, to our roots, to our heritage, to our true identity. Yesterday, Dini and I attended an event in West Palm Beach with the First Lady for the Promise Fund of Florida, which is founded by our member Nancy Brinker, who also began the Susan G. Komen Foundation to fight breast cancer. One of the individuals who spoke was a woman by the name of Liliana. Liliana told a very moving and compelling story. 30 years ago, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, but she couldn't afford health insurance. And so she went to doctor after doctor, and unfortunately each one referred her to someone else saying, we can't help you because you don't have insurance. And she realized that the only way she could get health care was if she lowered her income, and then she would be eligible for free health care. So she realized if she lowered her income, she would be eligible for free health care. And so she quit her job. As a result of that, she couldn't make her car payment. She lost her car. Then she couldn't pay her rent. And she was evicted from her apartment. She was homeless. And she had to live in a friend's warehouse on a lawn chair she slept. But thank God she got free health care. And she got the treatment she needed and recovered. And today, 30 years later, she's healthy and vibrant. And now she devotes her life being an advocate for those poor people who don't have health care. And she holds them by the hand, working for the Promise Fund, and says, I will help you, I will be there for you, I will show you the way forward. And whatever you need, I'll be there for you. If you need transportation to your doctor's visits, I'll take you. If you need child care while you go to your appointments, I'll watch your children. And she is an example of being able to learn from our past and use our past experiences to chart a brighter and better future for ourselves and for others. Shabbat Shalom. Have a wonderful day.